The shift had already made a decision about Kasey. She just was not there to hear it. Jayden stood at the front counter with the phone against his ear. The medical office order from the previous day had been charged incorrectly. The customer received the right food, but the final total did not match the amount they had been quoted. Jayden looked toward Marisol.
They want it corrected.
Do we know what happened?
Not yet.
Marisol looked at the clock. Kasey would arrive in less than 30 minutes.
We need to understand this before she gets here.
Jayden nodded. The words sounded responsible, but the team was not only trying to solve a customer problem, they were preparing the problem for Kasey. They wanted the timeline clear, the cause identified, the correction ready, nothing unfinished, nothing uncertain. Because even though Kasey was not in the building, the team was already responding to her. That is one of the hardest truths about leadership. Your reaction can leave the room before you do, and sometimes it is still there when you come back. Anchor and Ember Pizza had opened at 11. The first lunch orders were already moving through the kitchen. Marisol was running the floor. Luis was working the oven. Jayden was handling carry-out orders in the front counter. Marisol pulled up the medical office order.
Tell me exactly what they said.
Jayden looked at his notes.
They said the food was right, but the receipt was higher than the amount we gave them over the phone.
Did they add anything?
6 drinks.
Marisol checked the order. The drinks were listed. The final total was correct. Luis looked over from the oven.
So what went wrong?
They were told the old total.
Jayden said.
Who called them?
Jayden hesitated.
I think I did.
Marisol looked at him.
You think?
I remember calling. I don't remember which total I gave them.
Jayden checked the notes again, then the receipt, then the order history. He was not only trying to understand the mistake, he was trying to make sure the mistake was completely understood before Kasey walked through the door. A few weeks earlier, bringing her an answer like,
I think it was me,
might have created more pressure than the original problem.
How do you not know? Why wasn't it written down? Why are we just finding out?
Kasey had not asked any of those questions today. She was not there, but Jayden was already answering them. Marisol moved beside him.
Slow down.
Jayden looked up.
We have time.
I know.
You don't sound like you know.
Jayden gave a small smile.
I just want to have the right information.
For the customer?
And for Kasey.
There it was. Marisol looked toward the empty manager station. Kasey had been doing better. Everyone could see it. She greeted the team before giving direction. She paused before responding. She was working on not letting frustration take over the conversation. During the previous shift, Marisol had brought her a dough concern before she had a solution. Kasey listened. She asked questions. She helped the team work through it, and that moment mattered. But one good moment did not erase everything the team had already learned. Employees can notice a leader changing and still wonder whether the change will last. They can appreciate the effort and still prepare for the old reaction. Luis pulled a pizza from the oven.
Why don't you call Kasey?
Marisol looked over.
She'll be here soon.
That's not what I asked.
Jayden turned toward him.
We don't know exactly what happened yet.
Luis nodded slowly.
Okay.
He turned back toward the oven. Nobody needed to explain the rest. They would bring Kasey more than a problem. They would bring her the timeline, the likely cause, the customer solution, and someone ready to accept responsibility. They were trying to make the conversation smaller before she arrived. Jayden looked at the call record again.
I made the first call before the drinks were added.
Marisol leaned closer.
Then you gave them the correct total at the time.
Yes.
But nobody called them back after the order changed.
Jayden nodded.
Who was supposed to do that?
Marisol checked the order history. The answer was not clear. Once again, the team moved toward the question they believed Kasey would ask. Who was responsible? The customer had not asked for anyone to be blamed. They only wanted the difference corrected. But the team had learned to prepare for more than the customer needed. At 11:50, Kasey pulled into the parking lot. Marisol saw her car through the front window.
She's here.
Jayden placed the receipt on the counter. Marisol had already decided how she would explain it. Start with the customer, explain the drinks, show the receipt, clarify the phone call, acknowledge that nobody provided the updated total, then present the correction. Everything organized, nothing unfinished. The front door opened. Kasey walked in carrying her bag.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Kasey.
Louise said. Jayden looked up.
Hey!
Kasey noticed the receipt on the counter. She also noticed the way Jayden and Marisol looked at each other. She set down her bag.
What happened?
Marisol stepped forward.
We had a call from the medical office about yesterday's order.
The large delivery?
Yes, the food was right, but the final receipt was higher than the total they were quoted.
Kasey looked at the receipt.
Why?
The order changed after the first confirmation. They added 6 drinks. The system updated the price, but nobody called them back with the new total.
Jayden spoke before Kasey asked.
I made the original call. I gave them the right total at the time, but I didn't know the order changed later.
Kasey looked at Marisol.
Do we know who received the change?
Not yet,
Marisol continued before the silence could grow.
but we can refund the difference. Then we can update the process so customers receive a new confirmation whenever an order changes.
Kasey nodded.
What does the customer want?
The difference corrected.
Can we do that now?
Yes.
Then let's correct it.
Kasey handed the receipt back.
After lunch, we'll look at the process.
That was all. No raised voice, no accusation, no immediate search for blame. Jayden stood there for a second longer. Kasey looked at him.
You okay?
Yeah.
He said it too quickly. The medical office received the correction. The customer issue was resolved, but something else remained unfinished. The team had prepared for a conversation that never happened. Lunch picked up. Orders moved across the screen. Louise called for cheese. Jayden packed carryouts. Marisol worked between the counter and the make line. Kasey stepped into the flow. For the next 40 minutes, nobody mentioned the medical office order. The shift kept moving, but Kasey kept thinking about the moment before the rush. Not the mistake, the preparation. The explanation had sounded rehearsed. The receipt was already separated. The likely cause had been identified. Jayden had been ready to defend himself before she asked him anything. Kasey knew she had responded differently, but nobody looked relieved. They looked surprised. After lunch, Derek arrived to help with inventory. Kasey found him near the prep table.
Can I ask you something?
Derek continued counting sauce containers.
Sure.
The medical office called about yesterday's order.
I heard.
Everyone had the full explanation ready before I walked in.
That sounds responsible.
It was.
Kasey paused.
But it also felt like they were preparing for me.
Derek looked at her.
They had the timeline, the receipt, the correction. Jayden was ready to explain himself before I said anything.
What did you do?
I asked what the customer needed. We corrected it.
That sounds right.
I know,
Kasey looked toward the front.
but Jayden still looked like he was waiting for the old version of me.
Derek set down the inventory sheet.
Because he was.
But I didn't give him the old response.
Not today.
Kasey looked back at him.
I have been working on this.
I know.
They know?
Yes.
Then why are they still acting like this?
Derek paused.
Because people can believe you are trying and still protect themselves in case the change does not last.
Kasey did not answer. She wanted the effort to count. She wanted every pause, better question, and calmer response to become proof. But the team was not measuring her change by how hard it was for her. They were measuring whether they could depend on it. One calm response showed improvement. Consistency would make it believable. Kasey found Jayden restocking cups.
Can we talk for a minute?
Jayden looked concerned.
About the medical office?
Kind of.
He set down the cups.
I checked the transaction again. I gave them the correct total when I called.
I know.
The order changed afterward.
I understand.
Jayden waited. Kasey looked at him.
When Marisol told me what happened, you were already explaining yourself.
I was telling you what happened.
I know. But what did you think was going to happen when I found out?
Jayden looked toward the kitchen, then back at her.
I don't know.
Kasey nodded. She let the silence remain. A few weeks earlier, she might have repeated the question. She might have pushed for the answer. This time, she waited. Jayden looked down.
I knew you were probably going to handle it differently.
Kasey heard the word.
Probably.
Jayden smiled slightly, not because anything was funny, because he was uncomfortable.
You've been doing better.
You thought there was still a chance I wouldn't?
Jayden took a breath.
I think we're all still figuring that out.
Kasey felt the response forming in her head.
I have changed. I have been trying. You saw how I handled the dough problem.
She noticed the need to defend herself. Then she let it pass.
What did you do before I arrived?
We tried to understand what happened.
Because the customer needed an answer?
Yes.
Jayden hesitated.
And because we wanted to be ready when you got here.
Ready for what?
The questions.
What questions?
Who did it? Why it happened? Why we didn't catch it? Why nobody called them back?
Kasey looked toward the manager's station. She had not asked those questions today, but she had asked versions of them enough times that the team could hear them without her. She was not in the building, but her old reactions had already entered the conversation. Later, Kasey found Marisol near the beverage station.
You handled the medical office situation well.
Marisol waited.
You understood the order, corrected the customer issue, and had a process change ready.
Okay.
But I think you were also trying to protect the conversation from me.
Marisol's expression changed.
Protect it.
You had everything organized before I arrived.
I thought that would help.
It did.
Kasey paused.
But did you believe you needed all of it before you could tell me?
Marisol looked toward the front counter.
I didn't want the conversation to become bigger than the problem.
The answer was quiet, but clear. Kasey felt the first reaction rise. A need to remind Marisol that she had not made it bigger. A need to explain how differently she had handled it. She noticed the reaction, then let it pass.
That makes sense.
Marisol looked surprised.
I don't like that it makes sense, but I understand why it does.
We do see the difference.
Marisol said.
I know.
You've been calmer.
I know.
You listen more.
Kasey nodded.
But seeing the difference and depending on it are not the same.
Marisol did not disagree. Kasey took a breath.
I have been asking everyone to bring me problems sooner.
You have.
But I think I expected the team to trust that request before I had given you enough new experiences.
Marisol looked at her.
So I'm not going to ask you to stop being cautious.
Kasey said.
I'm going to keep showing you that you don't need to be.
That was different. Kasey was no longer asking the team to prove they trusted her. She was accepting responsibility for becoming trustworthy under pressure. The afternoon moved steadily, not busy enough to feel out of control, not slow enough for anyone to stop paying attention. Then the kitchen printer stopped sending tickets. Luis noticed first.
We're missing an order.
Jayden checked the screen.
There are 2 orders here that never printed.
How old?
One is already 6 minutes in.
Jayden checked the paper, then the power light, then the screen. His first instinct was familiar. Fix it first, find the cause, bring the problem after it was under control. He reached toward the printer cable, then stopped. Kasey was near the prep area with Derek. Jayden looked toward Marisol. Marisol looked back. Neither said anything. Jayden made a choice.
Kasey,
Kasey turned.
Yeah?
the kitchen printer missed 2 orders.
She walked over.
Do we know why?
Jayden looked at the printer.
Not yet.
The answer came slowly, but it came. Kasey nodded.
Okay. Read the orders to Luis so he can start them. Marisol, call the customers and update the timing. I'll check the printer.
No frustration, no question about who had been watching the screen, no demand for an explanation before action. The problem stayed where it belonged. As a problem, Jayden read the first order. Luis started the pizzas. Marisol called the customers. Kasey checked the connection. The cable had shifted when the counter was cleaned. She secured it. A test ticket printed. Then the 2 missing orders came through. Luis looked at them.
We already have them started.
Good.
Within a few minutes, the orders were moving. The customers had been updated. The problem was contained. Derek walked toward Kasey.
That one reached you early,
Kasey looked toward Jayden.
Barely.
but it reached you.
Kasey nodded. Jayden had not brought her an answer. He brought her the truth while it was still unfinished. Later, Kasey found Jayden wiping the counter.
You told me about the printer before you knew what happened.
Yeah,
What made you do that?
Jayden shrugged.
it was already affecting orders.
That's not the only reason.
Jayden smiled slightly.
No,
Kasey waited.
I figured we needed to handle it before it got worse.
And?
Jayden looked toward the kitchen.
I thought you would help.
The sentence was simple, but it carried more weight than Jayden realized. Earlier that day, the team had prepared an entire explanation before Kasey arrived. Now Jayden brought her a problem because he believed her presence would help. Not blame it, not enlarge it, help lead it. That was trust beginning to return, not because Kasey asked for it, because the next problem felt different. The medical office received its correction. The delayed orders reached the customers. The printer was working again. The shift continued. Nothing dramatic happened, but something had changed. Earlier that day, the team prepared an entire problem before Kasey arrived. Later, Jayden brought her one before he had the answer. Not because Kasey asked him to trust her, because when the next problem came, he believed she would help. That is how leadership change becomes believable. Not through one announcement, not through one apology, through what people experience the next time pressure arrives. Kasey has spent several shifts learning that what she carried into the restaurant affected everyone around her. Now she understood that the effect could remain after she left. A leader's pressure can outlive the moment. So can a leader's growth. This is Mr. Dave, and remember, what you bring into a shift does not disappear when you walk away. It can remain in the choices people make when you are not there. The question is, what kind of echo is your leadership leaving behind?